Welcome to Can Do Conversations Q&A edition. I'm Cheryl Williams, also known as the Can Do Mom.
I'm CJ Williams, the Can Do Dad. How you doing out there?
Welcome. If y'all could see what happens before we press record over here.
Do I have water in my eyes?
Oh, the hysterics that we're in over here. Just funny
my
shit.
My name is CJ.
He's got one thing to say to start this show.
CJ.
And it's his name. And we have to do a few takes before we can
because I go
get it. So sometimes we have to just laugh at ourselves because
always,
you know, what else are you gonna do?
Yes, we have fun. We have fun.
So welcome to this Q&A edition. We appreciate you guys sending in your questions. That's how we're able to bring this episode to you. So definitely, if you have a question regarding one of the topics that we discuss or just something in general that you would like us to answer, send those over to us and we'd be happy to get those on our next Q&A edition. We are getting a lot more, so I'm kind of attempting to give it some variety. A lot of these flow into last week's conversations, which is great. And there is a little bit of overlap on some of them, so I think we'll just kind of get ready to dive in. But remember, share this with your like-minded friends and family. We want to build a thriving can-do community, and the only way we can do that is with you guys. So let's jump in today's first question, which is, what are some effective strategies for prioritizing self-care and personal growth?
That's similar to the other questions we had too.
So I think effective strategies, the only strategy is something that you're actually going to do. So
not think about.
We can talk to you about all the things that you can do. The only way that it actually works is by you taking action consistently in these areas that you're wanting to work on.
Not just start, stop.
No.
And then never finish.
And that's a lot of people's challenge. They start,
just
they stop.
Like a workout. You know, if you're doing an 8-week challenge or 8 weeks and you only get to 4 or 6, you know, be proud of the 6, but you had 2 more weeks to go.
Right.
So
and the same thing is like a lot of people go a certain way and they're looking for a result. Right? Like, I'm not getting that result. I don't see the result. So then it's like, okay, let's jump, abandon ship, and let's go over here. This is better over here. It's always like
even
that.
Though it would have took 2 more days.
Right. It's like that grass is greener on the other side type of thing. It's like, well, I didn't get what I wanted as fast as I wanted it, so I'm going to abandon this completely instead of doubling down and saying, you know what? No, I am 6 weeks in. I am, you know, a month in or a year in or however much, and I'm going to continue going because I know this is the path I need to be on. And I think as, you know,
I mean, that's happened to us a lot.
We've done that multiple times.
We've done it a lot. Different things, not just workouts. And
there are some times when you
you're going for something else.
When you do need to look and say, look, is this getting me closer to where I want to go or not?
Exactly.
And sometimes plans change, right? Maybe you thought you were headed one way and you're like, you know what? No, I don't want that. I actually want this over here. Then you need to course correct.
Because this is what I really want.
Right.
Is over there, but I was already in this lane, so we pushed that way.
Right. And so you have to know where you're at, and effective strategies is consistency, right? That's really to prioritize self-care and personal growth, you need to consistently prioritize that for you. So how does that look for you? What are you wanting to be doing on a consistent basis? What's your personal growth? Are you wanting to read more? Are you wanting to, learn a new language? Are you wanting to eat better? Are you wanting to get a certain type of body? Are you wanting to connect more with your spouse? Are you wanting to do more things with your kids? Are you wanting to be a better version of yourself?
Building new relationships.
What is the self-care and personal growth that you're working on? Because all of those areas, some of them are more self, but personal growth is you're growing as a person, right?
And people around you also.
And the consistency is usually what's lacking. It's like, I want this, I want it tomorrow. If I don't see the result by, tomorrow, I'm going to do something else. It's like, no, you need to be consistent in that to get the result. Now, as you get closer, maybe you need to pivot, change, tweak to get
past the finish line.
Get where you're wanting to go. Or a lot of times you actually need to do more of those things that are getting you closer and keep doubling down and going all in on what it is that you need to be doing, not half-assing it, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out, not, some of the time, Or when it's convenient, it's like, no, it needs to be all the time, whether you feel like it or not. This is what you're going to do because you said this is what you want.
But you need to also figure out which direction you're going, because you could be going off track a little bit, and then you have to course correct yourself to stay on that lane, because something could change the way you feel. Every day that goes by, you're going to have different thoughts in your head of what you really want, and it's not going the way you want it to, but do you still want that thing? But then you realize you wanted something different. You want it to be here. So you were already turning to go there, but you thought you needed to be in that one lane. So just stop, pivot, turn, and then go for what you want.
I agree with that, as long as you're not stopping, pivoting, and changing because it's getting too hard.
Correct.
That's the caveat on that. As a lot of people say, times like, well, I'm going to do this over here because it's getting too hard over here. Or this is more of a challenge or a struggle than I thought it was going to be. It's
so
like,
change it to something smaller.
Right. Easier.
Yeah.
Don't take the easier path. Always take the
No.
harder path, right? When you're looking at it and you've got the fork in the road, it's like, well, here's the easy path and here's the hard path. Take the harder path, right? That's going to be the road that you need to go down. But a lot of people
you're going to learn so much by going to the harder way.
So a lot of people see the harder, bumpier, bigger mountain to climb. We're like, no, I'm going to go over here because I know this is easier. This is more obtainable. I won't get as many bumps and bruises and scrapes. That's not the point.
But you don't learn anything from it.
So you need to assess and know where are you going, and it's not going to be easy to get where you want to go. And that's okay. That's part of it. You're growing. You're learning. You're putting more tools in your tool belt. You're figuring out ways that it works better, ways it doesn't work, what works for you, what do you like, what do you not like, all of these things. And it's a learning process along the way. So you're constantly gathering data, and then you're assimilating that data and say, okay, well, last time I did this time I'm going to do this. Let's see what we get. Right?
Yep.
So when the fork comes in the road, choose the harder path. Always.
Yes.
Because that's going to get you where you want to go.
When you hit a roadblock, you're going to know how to go around it.
Yeah. And so
or through it.
Definitely there are pivots, there are tweaks, there are changes, but don't ever get off, be like, well, this is too hard. It's too much of a struggle for me. I'm going to go the easier, or I'm just going to quit altogether. Throw it all in, and it's not for me. It's like, no, this is the time when you've got to actually knuckle down and get it done.
Yes.
All right, next question. How do I focus my wins and determine what actions to focus on?
Self-assessment.
Yep.
With yourself and your partner to figure out what you need and what you want.
So you have to look at that and figure out, like, if you're wanting to figure out, how can you win and what do you need to focus on? Again, it comes back to what do you want, right? If you
asking that question all the time.
If you can get clear on what you want, then okay, well, I want this over here. And so a minute ago we were talking about that, that path that you're going to choose the harder path in which to get there, because it's not going to be the easy road. It's not going to be a short road. There's no shortcuts on this either. It's like, you want to get to here, well, then you need to do these things to get you there. And then when you get there, you're going to look around and say, okay, well, I'm here now. What do I want to do next, right? There's never an end. You're constantly getting wins.
Yes.
You're constantly stacking those wins, like we talked about.
Your wants are going to be bigger and bigger.
Before, but you're never there, right? There keeps moving, because once you get there,
you don't want to be stagnant.
You got to then move to the next level, right? If not, you're falling behind again.
Yes.
And so that's the fallacy that's out there.
Without the action, you're going to go way back.
That's the fallacy. It's like everyone thinks there's some utopia, some place when you finally arrive and the trumpets will sound and the gates will open and the people will usher you in and you have arrived. It's like, no, you've arrived there. Now what's next, right? It's like when you take a trip, it's like, okay, I took that trip. That was great. That was awesome.
Yes.
It is what
now
it is.
Now we're going to go somewhere else.
Now where are we going next, right? And so that's life. It's like you're constantly moving. You're never going to be where there is, because you're going to continue growing and changing along the way. And so when you get there, you celebrate that win, you appreciate it for what it is, and then you say, okay, where are we going now? And actually, before you get there is when you should be figuring out what's next.
Yeah, you don't wait until you're already at that small goal to then figure out your next.
And that's
you're
how
going to have many.
And that's how you eliminate the dips, right? This cycle that most people are on, it's like, I got the up, I got the win, now I got the low, because I'm riding it down.
Already there.
It's like, no, the way that you level that out some is that you're, okay, we're almost there. Where are we going next? Okay, we hit there. Okay, now here we go, right? So maybe you have a little leveling off, but then you have there's not the dip that comes, it's like that high and that low, high and that low.
Because you already planned it out.
You don't want to ride that wave. You want the consistency. And so when you almost get to where you want to go, where are we going next? Okay, great, let's go, right? And so you get that level, you celebrate that win, and then you keep moving. Yes. And you don't stay in that win for too long. Think of it as like, athletes. They win the big thing. It's like, okay, well, tomorrow they're back at square one again, right? They won, but now it's an even playing field again. It's like, what are you doing now to get to that next year? It's like, you've got to constantly looking. Yes.
Just like championships. When they win the Super Bowl, they're thinking about next year.
Right. It's like, okay, well, that was great for this year. Yep, Rack that up, stack it up, great. And next.
Move on.
Right? You got to next. So you celebrate, and then you keep moving on. You don't just keep celebrating day after day after day. It's like, no, you got to keep moving.
Because then you're going to start dipping.
Yeah. And so that's the main difference on that. All right, next question. How can I encourage my family members to join me on this journey of personal development?
Well, you're going to have to do first, and they're going to have to come along. Because if you grab them along, they're not in the mood to be pulled. They're not in the mood to work out. They're not in the mood to eat the different foods that you're going to have and the different ideas or going somewhere or going running, whatever you're going to do. You do the action daily, every day, repetitive, all the time. And then sooner or later, they're going to want to get off their ass because you're going to be looking better. You're going to be feeling better. And that's contagious.
And so it's leading by example.
Yes.
The more that you can do the work, again, it's not the talking. They've heard you talk before. You got to shut your mouth.
Doing.
And do the work, right? Don't tell them what you're going to do. Show them what you're doing.
Giving them a list. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this at 5. I'm going to do that.
And they're saying, yep, you said that before and you never did it. You never followed through. Or you did it for a little bit until it got,
then they're going to talk that shit behind your back.
Again, it's like, just do. By doing and by being the example, the ones who want to join are going to come along. And the challenge that most people have is like, not everybody's going to want to join.
No matter what you do.
And maybe that's a spouse. Maybe you have someone and that they're not wanting to level up. But then you're going to have to figure out that scenario at that time. Maybe you have, it's your parents and they're not wanting to, you're growing, right? And so if you're going to a different level, if they're not growing with you, they're going to try to pull you down.
Right, and then reassess from there also.
And so you have got, and that could be your friends, that could be, all kinds of people that you work with. Do the actions, lead by example,
every day.
Show the way, and those that are ready to receive that at the time will then start their journey as well.
But long as you're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Daily.
It's got to be the consistent actions.
It's going to be months before they even think about wanting to join you.
Yep.
So don't think it's going to be a week. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have a partner next to you running with you. It's not going to work that way.
And, you can get somebody out there, and they'll do it for a bit, but if their heart's not really in it, if they don't really want to be there doing that thing, they're not going to do it long term. And so,
Also start slow with them.
Dragging someone along, it becomes a weight for you that at a certain point, you're going to have to let them go, and you keep going, and they're going to have to decide to get going themselves or not, right?
Yes.
They're going to either continue to move and grow with you, or they're going to fall by the wayside. And everyone has choices, right? And life is all about choices. But if you want people to come along, the only thing you can do is be the example. Lead, and the ones that want to follow will. And then they'll pick up their baton, and they'll start running with it as well. When it's the time for them to do that, when they are ready to do that, it's like you had to be, in the right place at the right time for this to be your time to continue moving forward.
Time to shine.
And so they have to have that about themselves as well. And no amount of talk or manipulation or
making them feel bad
or it's going to make them come along, right? You want them to be pushing themselves as much as you're pushing yourself, and they have to get to a place when they're ready for that, and not everybody's ready for that.
It's going to take even longer if you start talking shit.
Yep. So just head down, focus on the task, do the actions, lead by example, not a lot of this, and just do the actions. And they'll make their decision. Yeah. You don't have to say anything.
And be proud of yourself.
Yep, just keep moving right along. And plug into people who are on the same journeys. That's why we like this can-do community, right? So we're always building and saying, we want to build a thriving can-do community because we want you guys to have other like-minded individuals, because not everybody has that where they are or in their home or where they work. And so if you have that sphere of influence around you, everyone who's bettering themselves, it makes it that much easier for you to sustain that as well. Next one. What do you mean when you say personal development is an ongoing process?
Never ends.
No, it
doesn't stop. Every day is a process.
So what we mean by ongoing is there's a never
stop learning.
There's never an end, right? It's like the road. It's an endless road of you put one foot in front of the other. You're constantly growing, changing, evolving, and doing more. I mean, so who you were
and staying positive
last week or last month or last year is not who you are now. Have you grown? Yes. You have. You're a different person than even where you were yesterday.
Right. You're being a guided light.
Right. And so the reason it's an ongoing process is because if you stop today, you're not continuing to grow. You're not continuing to evolve. Time is continuing to move. And if you're not putting better things in your mind, if you're not putting better things in your body, and if you're not strengthening your body, and you're not, doing the actions, well, then what you did yesterday doesn't matter because today is a brand new day, right? Just like you get up and you need water and food.
Shower.
And things have to be taken care of.
Yes.
Same thing with your personal development journey. It's a journey ongoing because there isn't you've reached here, you're good.
Yeah. It's not like a trophy on the case.
And even with that, you got to keep moving, right? Someone else is going to win it next time.
That's right.
You have to continue moving forward and continue on the process. And that's why some people are like, oh, I got here. Well, where's here? That's great. Applaud yourself for that. And next,
keep moving.
Keep it moving, right? And that's what we talked about earlier. The wins is like the wins, once you've won, that's good. You've got to continue moving forward. And so the same thing with developing yourself, the same thing with bettering yourself. You're a continued growing being and your personal development grows as well. Your mind, your body, your relationships, all that, they're always growing and flourishing.
Nonstop.
As long as you're putting what you need to put into them. Okay, next one. What are some examples of small wins that I can celebrate throughout the day? I think this is in regards to last week when we were talking about celebrating wins. And
starts from as soon as you get up.
We're looking at stacking, right? Stacking those wins. And so we know when we go to bed at night, that day is done, right? And so we have a fresh, clean slate. We have no score for the day when we're waking up.
No checks.
We start with a 0, right? Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing's on the board, right? And so just like when you start a new game, you're starting with clear, right? 0. And so what we do is we set at night. You set yourself up for success for the next day and those wins by the night before. Do you know what you're doing the next day? Okay. Do you know the time you're getting up, the workout that you're doing, the clothes that you're wearing, the appointments that you have, the things that you're committed to?
Yes.
And then what you do is the next day you get up and you execute on those things.
Each step.
And so when you get up at the time you said you're going to get up, win. You do your workout, win. You do your reading, win.
Drinking your water.
You make those phone calls you said you're going to make, win. Like you spend time with your family, win.
Right. Get your walks and your steps in.
All of these things are wins, and so they're the small wins. Are they the huge, magnificent, big wins?
Nope.
No. But if you look at every day,
do it daily.
As you're stacking these wins, the big wins will come from the small things that you're doing consistently on a daily basis.
Right, because you're constantly building.
And so if you always look at it, well, I didn't win today, I didn't do anything today, nothing's happening, nothing going, nothing's working, nothing don't work, nothing don't go. Well, you're not winning,
changes
right?
The next day.
It's like, okay, you didn't get up at the time you said you were going to get up. You didn't do the things
hit the snooze button
that you said you were going to do. You didn't invest into your relationships. You didn't make those calls. You didn't send those emails. You didn't, go on that date night. You didn't, do your workout. You didn't get your steps in.
Your kiss-o-meter didn't go off.
No. Beep,
beep, beep, beep, beep, beep, beep.
It's on empty.
Yes.
And so all of these things that you've got to look at and say, okay, these are the wins that I'm setting up for tomorrow. I know what they are. I need to execute.
Yeah. Once you do that, be happy about it.
Right? And then
know it, because then you get excited for the next day.
Exactly. It gets contagious. You want to win tomorrow and the next day. And then what you look back is, okay, how many wins did I have? Now, are you going to have some losses? Of course you are, right? But as long as you have more wins than you have losses, then you're winning, right?
You're good.
I mean, the same thing with baseball, like the batting average. As long as you're, over a 3.0, you're winning. What does that mean? Like they're hitting 3 balls out of every 10 that they get, right? So it's like at bats they have, that's winning, right? And so for that, but you have to know what's winning for you. It's like, what are your averages? What are you playing with? Where do you feel, where's that sweet spot for you? And knowing what that is, but celebrating those wins and then stacking win on top of win on top of win, winners win, right? The more you win, the more you want to win.
Just like you know how many miles you want to do a day. And then you're going to want to do more. It's all about the action.
So the action, right? And that, you hear it's all the time, action, action, action. And
talking.
Those wins are the action. They're the action behind what you said you're going to do, and that's how you get those wins. And so the more that you win, and then when you have a spouse or a significant other or maybe just a family member that you're doing these, so now you guys are working on the wins together. And then that's how you start, that synergy starts coming together too.
That's awesome.
Yes. I feel overwhelmed by the responsibility of being a role model for my family. How can I change this? We got to work on some things here. If you feel overwhelmed by the responsibility, then you're not where you need to be to have that being your responsibility. Right now, the only thing you should be focusing on is you. Because again, like we talked about earlier, leading by example, if you're feeling overwhelmed that you've got to be this utopia and example so that your family can be, you could be a role model for them, that's not what you're looking at. You're looking at being the best version of yourself today and then tomorrow and then the next day. By you doing what you need to do, you're going to be that role model.
Leading by example.
And the overwhelm that you're feeling is because it's like you're looking at the mountain, right? I need to be this role model. I need to wear the badge. I need to have the thing. They need to.
It's not that way.
That's not how it is. It's like just by doing, you're that role model, right? And right now you're a role model regardless, right? That's what people, they think you have to, you're a role model over here if you're doing, but you're also a role model of what not to do if you're going down the wrong path as well. And so your kids are always looking up to you, right? Your family is always looking at you. And by your actions is how they know you, right?
Yes.
And so let go of the
actions.
Let go of the overwhelm and just do what you know you need to do. And by doing that, you let go of the titles of the role model, responsibility, overwhelm, and just be.
Don't think about it that way.
Just do.
Right.
Do what you know you need to do on a consistent basis. And then again, you're leading by example, call it, role model, whatever you want to call it. Again, titles sometimes can mess a lot of things up. It's like, because we slapped a label on it, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can live up to that. Do what you know you need to do today and tomorrow and next week and next year. And by that, you're leading by example. And then your family can make the decision for themselves whether they like the example that you're setting and whether they want to follow.
And if you're doing negative things and you know you shouldn't be doing them anyway, just make sure all the negative things that you think are going to be accepted wrongly, don't do those. Just mark them off. Say, I'm not going to curse as much. I'm not going to eat the bad food in front, eat a box of donuts. I'm not going to eat the ice cream. I'm not going to, have 20 dates in 1 week. Certain things, you're going to want to lead a better path.
And again,
or the drugs, or the drinking.
You're not perfect, right? Nobody is. And so if you're trying to be perfect, you're going to fail. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody gets it right 100% of the time. Nobody has, everything going all the time. You're going to have those. You might eat that box of donuts. Okay, so enjoy it while you're eating it and then move on, right? Don't continue going and getting more boxes of donuts and just shoveling it in because I ate one, so I might as well eat 20. It's like, no.
Next time, take 2 and give somebody else the box.
So again, learn from these things and don't put yourself on some pedestal that you need to be this role model and you need to be perfect because you're never going to reach that level.
No.
And so you're setting yourself up to fail before you even start because of this thing that you've created in your head of how you need to be. You need to be perfect. You need to be a role model. You need to be a leader. It's like, no, you need to be the best that you can be today. Be the best version of you today and then be the best version of you tomorrow, right? And when you slip up, acknowledge it and keep moving forward.
Right.
And that's how you become a leader. That's how you become a role model. That's how you become an example for people to follow because then they can see themselves in you like, okay, they're not perfect, but they're still moving forward.
Yes,
they're not
with a good
perfect,
attitude.
and they're still getting those wins. They're not perfect, so therefore I'm not perfect. I can do this as well, right? That's the whole we can do it and so can you. We're not perfect, right?
Nope.
We're here giving you insights and information and guidance on what's worked for us, but we're not going to ever sit here and say that we're perfect 100% of the time because we're not. No. We're all human, right?
That's right.
I mean, none of us have everything going all the time.
No, we're not robots.
No, you've got to...
Robots need to unplug also.
Right. You need to know that. And don't set yourself up to fail before you've even gotten started. So simplify it, do what you need to do, and by doing that, people will follow.
One more.
No, we got a couple more. Can you provide tips for breaking the habit of hitting the snooze button? Okay, here's my tip. You ready?
Keep the phone away from you.
I think most people
clock away from
use their phone as their alarm. Now maybe you still have a clock and that's what you use.
It's too close.
Here's the tip. If it's close enough to you that when you're laying in bed and you can hit that puppy, you can snooze. However, if you have to get out of bed and you've got to take a few steps to go do that, you're already up at that point.
You're up.
You're up. So then, just stay
Go tinkle winkle.
Stay upright.
And then brush your teeth and get ready for the day.
So that's the easiest thing is like, make it so it's not so easy to hit the snooze button. Make it so you have to get up, you have to put your feet on the floor, you have to stand up, and you've got to walk a little ways to hit the snooze button. Well, then you're already up. You just tell yourself, look, I'm up. Hey, let's go, right? This is the commitment. Because then you have time to let your thoughts go, look, this is what I committed to. I said I was going to get up. This is my first win. Let's do it, right?
Let's
so
go.
then you know the rest of your...
You have a list of things to do.
You've got your wins coming. That's your first one. Getting up, turning the alarm off, going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, wash it, whatever it is that wakes you up in the morning, and then go. And then you've already got your first win. So don't make it so easy for yourself to fail, right? And that goes for a lot of things in life.
Because you're not going to want to jump back in the bed and cover up. And you'll be like, did I really just do that?
Yeah, I'm already up. What? I was up.
Yeah.
Right? The hardest part is getting up. Once your feet hit the floor and you take a few steps, hey, you're up, you're going, let's move.
Yes, little spank on the butt. Up. Let's go.
Who's spanking whose butt?
I'll spank yours.
Okay.
Let's go.
So that's what you do, a little pat on the backside and off you go. And that's your first win, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you need my hand, it's not a rental.
No, that's for me only. Thank you. Okay. How do I deal with negative comments or resistance from people in my social circle?
Change your circle.
Yeah.
Have a talk with that person if you need to. And if you don't have the balls to do that, just keep them away from you, yourself, your friends, and your family.
I think there's no need to talk.
Nope.
No, because again, it's wasted time, it's wasted energy. If they're already showing their colors and by chirping,
just say,
right?
True colors. Just sing it to them.
No, again, just move on, right? No talking, actions. Let your actions speak. You determine who your sphere of influence is. You determine who your friends are. You determine who has access to you. And so if you can see, if they're popping up and you can see they're not helping me get where I want to go, they're pulling me backward, then that's up to you to change that person.
Because
they don't get access anymore.
You're not going to want to hear anything negative daily.
And having a conversation with that type of person isn't going to help anyway. So skip the conversation. And now, if they come to you later and say, hey, I've noticed that we're not hanging out as much, or what's going on, then you can have that conversation because then they're open to that. But going to them and saying, hey, I don't like, no, just keep it moving. Keep it moving, right? We only have so much energy and so much space. And if they've already raised their hand and said, I'm negative, I'm gonna pull you back down,
negative,
then move.
Nilly, get
Don't
them away from
allow
you.
them access to you. Change, right? That's you. You control you. You control who has access to you.
Block.
If you need to.
Yep.
Right?
Just, I'm done. Be
Go.
done with it.
And so let it go, and that way you can stay focused on where you're at.
Ghost. See you later.
Focused. Next. How can I find the right balance between taking care of myself and taking care of my family?
Ooh.
Well, I think...
But she's doing that more for herself now because you're taking care of yourself more and then the family.
So I now make myself a priority, right? I have not made myself a priority in the past, and I see where that has gotten me, right? And so it's like when you know different, you do different. And so the way that you can balance, if you want, right? Where you're still taking care of yourself, but you're still taking care of your family. You don't want to just go all in on you and like, forget you guys, good luck.
Yep, see you later.
That's not where we're at, right? And so it's not either or, it's an and. You can take care of yourself and you can take care of your family. You might have to do things differently than what you've done them, right? And so the way that I'm able to take care of myself more is by carving out time in the morning, which means getting up earlier, right? I mean, I like to lay in bed and sleep and, rest
Cuddle.
and all that kind of, that's all great, right? However, again, I know the commitments I've made to myself. And so by getting up earlier, that's my uninterrupted time. And if it gets interrupted, well, then I can say, look, this is my interrupted time. Y'all need to go take care of you because this is me, right? This is the me time. So, and then once I've taken care of me, it's before they're even getting up anyways, then I'm ready to take care of them. And so I haven't neglected myself. I haven't let myself go. There's no time, so I guess, I'll just let myself go again. It's like, no. Carve out the time. Make yourself that priority. And then when like we were talking about, front loading your day. If you can get all these things done for you in the morning, then you have the rest of the day for yourself and everybody else. Right? It's not either or. It's the and.
That's the big thing right there.
It's the and.
And having a list of knowing what you're going to do for the day to create your wins. And then you're going to automatically have time even more for yourself and everybody around you.
And I know some people are like, well,
I like
to do workout in the evening, or I like to do stuff. If that works for you, and you know that you can have that time in the evening,
just for yourself,
then great. If you need to flip it and do it the other way, okay. However, a lot of times what we've seen is that's an excuse, right? It's like, because then the end of the day comes, and it's like, well, I didn't get this and this done.
Well, if you work at night, you know what I mean?
Most people don't. We're just going to go with the majority. Now,
well, in Vegas,
you know your schedule and what you need to do for you.
Vegas, you work at night.
Maybe.
Mostly.
Sometimes.
So, yeah.
But anyways, don't make excuses as to why you're not able to. Find what works for you. And what I like that works for me is carving out the time in the morning, because then I know the rest of the day I've already taken care of me. I've already gotten my workout and I've already gotten my steps and I've already gotten my prayer, meditation, visualization. I've already gotten my reading. I've already written down my goals. I've already, had half my water. I've already, I've already done all of these things. So no matter what comes up throughout the day, I've got work things I need to take care of. I've got kid things I need to take care of. All that stuff happens, but it's not what I'm focusing on at that time. All right, last one. What should I do if I miss a win or experience a setback? Well, I would say if you are missing a win or experiencing a setback, if it's one time, let it go. Move on, right? If it becomes a continual pattern, then we need to address that, okay? Like we said, you're not gonna be perfect all the time. So if you experience, a not win or a setback or something's coming up, that's fine. But if you're noticing, you didn't work out today and then you're not working out tomorrow, and or you said you were gonna make these calls and you didn't do them today and you didn't do them tomorrow and it turns into next week, or, you said you're gonna eat better, but you didn't, and you continue then we gotta work on that, right? And so you gotta
make a cold stop.
You've gotta address what it is. If it's a one-time thing, focus and keep moving forward. If it's a continual pattern, then you need to stop that.
Readjust.
And figure out why is that continuing to happen? What do you need to do so you don't continue doing that same thing, and then continue moving forward. So if it's a one-time thing, let it go. If it's a continual pattern, focus in on it, figure out what it is, change it, shift it, and then keep moving forward.
You have to mold it to yourself.
And so, again, you're not gonna win all the time. No. You're gonna have some challenges, you're gonna have some hurdles, you're gonna have some setbacks.
You can make up for those too.
And as long as you're winning more than you're losing, you're okay.
You're already ahead.
So that's the main thing, is don't beat yourself up for those you slip, or maybe you did what you thought, or hey, you said you were gonna make 50 calls and you only made 40. Okay, today. But if that becomes a continual pattern, then we need to reassess and readdress. Yep. If it's not though, and it's just one time happened, then you feel, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. This is what I'm gonna do differently next time. And so don't dwell on something and make something bigger than what it actually is, unless it gets to a point when you need to address it more. But if it's a one-time setback, or a one-time, hey,
or just for even a couple days, because maybe you got hurt, it's okay.
And again though, if you do get hurt or you do get an injury,
do something else.
Then you reassess.
It happened to me.
You can still get wins in. You don't just throw in the towel completely. It's like, what can you do? Okay, let's do that. right? And you don't just say, well, I got injured, so I'm not going to do. No, it's like, okay, you can still do something.
Yep.
And so a lot of people limit themselves by the excuses that they make for themselves. Stop making excuses.
Yeah, my finger hurts, so I can't walk.
If that's you, we need to work on that.
Yes.
Okay? But you see what we're saying. It's like, don't take something that's really small and make it into something that's really big. Right. And a lot of people are really good at that. Taking like a little teensy thing and blowing it out of proportion.
My kids do a lot.
Focus in on what it is. And if you're noticing that in yourself, then you need to address that.
Yes.
But again, like we're here to say, like, no one's perfect. As long as you're moving forward, you're doing okay, right? Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hand clap, a little bit of credit, and acknowledge where you're at along the journey, right? All the wins that you have had and where you are now, and it's okay. A lot of times you think you're going to be somewhere faster than where you are, so give yourself a little bit of grace in that as well. And so that's the main thing with all of this is like, you're human. You're not a robot.
No.
You're not perfect. It's okay. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have good days and not so great days.
Big breaths.
Things happen. And
Deep breaths.
It's how you work through that. It's how you see it as well.
Yes.
And then what does that do for you today, the rest of the day, and then tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And so it's
visualizing and meditation will help also.
Right. And just sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you just need to breathe.
Centering yourself.
Just like,
just center.
Go back to just focusing on your breath. And do 5 or 10 really deep breaths, and you'll center yourself again. It'll all subside, and then you can refocus.
Be okay.
You're alive.
It'll be okay.
You have air in your lungs, right?
Yes.
And so, that's better than most that aren't, right?
Yes.
So you have to look at that and say, look, I'm alive. Is everything going according to plan? No, but I'm still here. So what am I going to do? What can I do? And then you breath and keep on trekking. And that's why we talk, plan, take action. It's the action component that most people are messing up. It's like, as long as you're taking some sort of action, then you're continuing to move. It might not be the perfect action. It might be the correct action. Action is action. And one action leads to the next action. And then you start getting that momentum of, okay, I can take these actions. I can take these steps. And then you start getting into a rhythm of it as well. And so then, if you have one step back, it's like, oh, it almost becomes a dance. It's like you take 2 steps, then maybe you take 1 back, and you keep going. And so you figure out how is that working. You play with the resistance on that as well. Not everything is going to go according to your plan, but how do you respond? How do you deal with that? How do you make that a beautiful dance instead of some rigid, like awkward, oh, God, and you fall over, right? It's like, no, you can work with it. We got to find the rhythm in here, okay? We need to turn on some salsa music and get going. We're going to do a cha-cha. We can do that. Okay. So while we get ready to put on some salsa music, some cha-cha music, some two-stepping, we're going to do something over here. That's actually something we did the other day.
Yes.
We noticed, like, we were at this concert, and the music was going.
We were about to leave,
but then this song came on, and I was like, oh, and then he tapped me on, and he wanted to dance. And I was like, oh, we haven't danced, like, out forever. So it was nice, little dance. The kids were watching and wanting to know what the heck we were doing. We were embarrassing them, standing up and dancing, in front of everybody. But who cares?
It's okay.
We tell them all the time, don't worry about what other people think. Do what you know you need to be doing. And that's the main thing we can teach them is like,
and don't
stop
forget,
worrying about what everyone else thinks. Do what you know you need to do.
Yes, because we can do it, and so can you.
That's it, guys. Remember that all the time. It's like, it's not a, what can you do? We're leading by example. We're here to show you guys the way. We're here to have these conversations. We're here to show you the ups and the downs and the challenges and the struggles and the, all this roller coaster ride of life, right?
Yes.
And we're just attempting to, even it out a little bit for everyone going along. And so, like you said, we can do it, and so can you. We look forward to talking to you guys here again very, very soon. In the meantime, keep your questions coming in and share the show. We love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.